Hello guys, and you're welcome back. In our last lesson, we saw an example of the if statement, and we created a basic example where we compared two numerical values. This time around, let's go ahead and look at another version of the if statement called the if-else statement. So we'll be using the same if statement script just to show we'll create a new function and use that as an example. So right now, what I'm going to do is to copy these two variables we declared because I want to make them public. Right now, these variables, num1 and num2, only exist within this function's scope. So if we want to make it global, all we need to do is just copy these two. Just right here where we have our class, we'll just place them right here, and we'll use the public keyword to make them appear in our inspector. So with that, let's go ahead and just save it, and let's get back here. And right here where we have our if statements, if we click on this drop down, we should see we have num1 and num2 with two input boxes, and we can change these values so that we just do that automatically within Unity's inspector. Right, so let's go ahead and create a variable for our if-else statement. So I'll just go ahead and close our if statement like that. And let's just create a void, and let's just call that if else. So now that we have this function called if else, what we're going to do is just pass in a statement for the if else. So I'm just going to do an if statement. So let's say if num1 is greater than num2, like we've done the last time, we'll just do a debug .log, and we'll just pass in our quick comment and say yay, num is greater than num2, which is what we've done actually. So to actually have an else statement rather than have multiple if statements, we could just do an else if, right? So here we're going to say else if. We can do let's say num is less than num2. So what we can also do right here is to bring out our curly braces, and then we can pass in the action we want it to do. So I'll just do a debug.log, and then within that debug.log, let's just say let's say num is lesser than num2. And what we are going to also do is to do another else if. Now we can see where this is going. We can say num is equal to num2, just like that. We can do a debug.log. So let's do a debug.log, and here we can simply say both numbers are the same. So we can actually see the slight variation of the if else and the if else if statements. Basically, we just have an if else if this doesn't happen, else if this one, else if this one. So basically that's how the syntax for the if else if is. So let's go ahead and just save this script, and let's just get back right here to Unity. And what we're also going to do is just set these two values to be equal. And let's go to our console and clear our console and play the scene. So if you get back to our console, we're not getting any results. That's because we are not actually calling this. So let's get back here and always call our if else statement, right? So we call this if else right here. So I call this if else, and let's just go down here to our start and also call if else. Now if I wanted to comment this out, I'll just use double slashes and comment this one out. So if else. Alright, that was super funny. I forgot to actually put this in our start so that it could run it. So right now we created a function called if else, and I failed to pass that value within our start method. So it's not going to work. So I'll just save that and let's get back again. And let's clear this and let's play our scene. And let's get back to our console. It says both numbers are the same. So let's go ahead and set this value to say 10. And let's go ahead and run this. And let's go back to our console. It says num2 is greater than num is greater than num2 because 50 is greater than 10. And also if we swap this, let's set this to 10 and set num2 to 100 value. So let's go ahead and run our script again, our program again. And let me go to our console, because it says num is less than num2 because num2 is higher than num1. So that's a variation of the if else statement. So we just don't want to use if else statements or conditional statements to just display results on the screen. We actually want to use conditional statements to actually program our gameplay or our game objects logic. How can we change things? How can you use an if else statement or an if statement to actually rotate a cube on its axis? How can we use an if statement to actually get an input from the keyboard so we can move our cube or our game object, which could be a player or a character, with our keyboard? How can we press the left click and then shoot or spawn or instantiate a game object? So in our next set of lessons, we're going to be using our statements and our assignment operators directly on game objects, because that's the main purpose of Unity, is to actually have scripts that expose high-level functionality using scripts. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and our next lesson we're going to get our feet wet and start applying what we've learned to actual game objects.